Well, hello. These are the instructions. I'm using 3.2, but these are the instructions for how you would do any type of analytical writing in this course. So the first thing we're going to start with is where you're going to be discussing the writing. So usually it's going to be Brackley and their theory behind whatever the thing is. So this is disordered attachment. So on this first slide, what I've had you do is give Brackley's definition of indifference, and then I suggest you pull up another definition of indifference. I use the OED, and then explain how they're different, and then I've written that paragraph right over here. Then, just as like all the other assignments, you're next going to decide what grade you want. You can get a 13, a 15, a 17, or a 20, and you'll delete any slides that are not associated with that grade. And you can see I've kept the color scheme. So red is 13, yellow is 15, 2 green slides for 17, 2 purple slides for 20. And if for whatever reason you change, you start with writing one thing and you change your mind, you can always go back into the history right here, and you can click on it and you can go back and restore anything that you've lost. So once you decide on the grade, you're going to delete all the other slides, and you'll write up your grades there. You'll write up your experience of, in this case, a disordered attachment, but for whatever, you'll analyze whatever the topic is. And then the last thing you'll do is, this one I'm calling what would Brackley say. So this is where you would apply the theory that we discussed first to your own situation. So here is me. This is my writing, what I think, how Brackley thinks I would help, advice I think he would give me to overcome the disorder. So if that's all you need on this, and you kind of understood how the slides work on your own, great. You can stop the slide show right now and just know that when you're ready to, you'll complete these and that you will have written your section. Okay, so you've decided to write a red slide to get 13 out of 20 points. So what you're going to do here is to describe a disordered attachment that you have in your own life. And these don't have to be huge things. I did overeating. And then I describe one trait of what overeating looks like to me. And then I write a paragraph about what my trait is or what my disorder is and one trait that goes with it. And then you will just jump down to slide 10 to the next blue slide and tell how Brackley would advise you, and then you're done. So you've decided to go for a 16 out of 20 and write the yellow slide. So on this slide, what you're going to do is you're going to pick some sort of disorder in your own life. For me, I chose overeating. And then you're going to identify 3 traits of the disorder and then describe them in a section over here. And so I broke the paragraph up into a general statement about overeating, and then I described the 3 traits in the paragraph below. Then when I have done with this, I'm going to go down. Of course, you'll have deleted everything to the next blue slide, and I would write out the slide for Brackley's advice to me for how I would overcome the disorder. Oh, okay. So you've decided to get 18 out of 20. So what we're going to do is you're going to first start out by describing a disordered attachment. I used overeating. You're going to describe 3 traits of that disorder. So I have that I clean my plate a lot, I storm eat, and I emotionally eat. And then you need to add how that trait contributes to this disorder. So whatever it does that makes the normal attachment you have, in this case, you should eat, it's good to do, you need to live, and how that trait, how this particular thing disorders or makes the eating bad. So I explained those things there in these 3 boxes, and then on the next green slide, I've written my whole paragraph. And then, of course, I come down to the next blue slide, and I explain what advice I think Brackley would give me on how to overcome the disorder, knowing that I can't ever fully be entirely free, as he says. Well, okay, so you've decided to go for the whole thing and get a 20 out of 20. So the first thing you're going to need to do is to describe a disorder in your life. This doesn't have to be some huge thing. I just chose something simple like I overeat. And then I name 3 traits of the overeating, 3 ways that different ways I overeat. I then, in this column right here, I describe how each of those traits contributes to the disorder, right? It's good to eat. But the overeating part, the over part is how it gets the disorder of eating properly. And then for the final things, to get that 20 out of 20, you have to evaluate the contribution of each of the traits. So so you have to pick a metric. I pick the prevalence of the challenge, and then then I rate them as empty plate, then storm eating, and then finally emotional eating. And then I write those all. I turn that into several paragraphs right here. And then I go on to the next slide, and you can see the advice I think Brackley would give me to overcome those disordered attachments, knowing that I'm probably never going to have entire freedom around anything. So good luck. I hope this is helpful, and I look forward to seeing what you guys create.